Hello all, these are the worked solutions to group work B5, the second set of river problems. The good news for students in AP Physics 1 is that it's unusual for a College Board question to use a triangle that does not have a right angle. The reason we do this one is to demonstrate this problem-solving process where you have to use a velocity in a certain dimension to solve for a different variable, like displacement or time. So this is the reason we use this example. Eventually, we will look at parabolas rather than triangles, but let's get started. So these are the same values that we used in the previous river problem. The jet ski relative to the speed of the water is still 8.30 meters per second, and the velocity of the river is still 3.77 meters per second. And so the first question asks you to draw the vectors that would add up to produce the resultant vector. So you need a vector for the jet ski and the river to produce the resultant vector. So this plus this would have to produce the resultant. The problem actually gives you the resultant though. So we start by drawing this black resultant vector, which is at 30 degrees north of directly east. We don't know the magnitude of it, but we do know that the velocity of the jet ski and the river together have to produce this black one. And since the river is flowing south, the jet ski needs to flow even further north. It has to be aimed farther to the north side of the bank where you're aiming. And as long as the jet ski is aimed this way, it will travel this way. Now, when you have triangles that don't have a 90-degree edge, it's helpful to understand as many angles as you can. And so I made a more explicit drawing over here. So here's your resultant vector that is produced. Here's the jet ski, and we know that that has a velocity of 8.30 meters per second. We know that the river has a velocity of 3.77 meters per second. And those are the only sides we know so far. We know that the x component of the resultant is actually the same as the x component of the jet ski. And we could figure out this angle, which is exterior to the triangle. But if you know that the components of the resultant vector have a 30-degree angle on this side, this one's 90 degrees. So that one has to be 60 degrees. Since you know that this is a straight line, the complementary, or is it supplementary? I think it's supplementary. Regardless, you know that these two have to add up to be 180. So you can now say that angle A is 120 degrees. And I think that's everything you can infer from the angles and sides that are presented. The next step is one that maybe you would have needed to remember from a previous math class, is where you can use the law of sines, where the opposite angle over the sine of that angle, the opposite side over the sine of that angle is equal to a different side over the sine of that angle. So in this case up here, like the sine of so 8.3 over the sine of A is equal to 3.77 over the sine of B. So that's what I used down here to solve for this unknown angle. So this ratio, the opposite side over the sine of that angle, is equal to this known side, 8.30, divided by the sine of that known angle. Now I skipped a bunch of math steps here. If you're not sure how I got to this number, you can come see me for help. But try to work through this problem to get the angle all by itself. I can explain quickly. You just multiply both sides by the sine of theta, and then take the inverse of this on this side. So the sine of 120 times 3.77 divided by 8.3 is equal to the sine of theta. And then take the inverse sine of this side. If that's confusing, come see me. I'll work out the steps with you. Once you figure out that angle B is 23.2 degrees, and you know that this is 120 degrees, therefore all three of these angles have to add up to 180, you can determine that the angle in C is 36.8 degrees. Now that we know this angle, we can determine this side And that's really what the question is. It's what is the magnitude and direction of the resultant vector. So that's going to come back over here. So that side divided by the sine of this angle is equal to any of the other two. You could have used either B or A. But I used 8.3 divided by the sine of 120. And that produces a resultant vector of 5.74 meters per second. Now, if this is 5.74 and this is 30 degrees, you can determine the two components. The x component of the resultant vector would be the cosine of angle 30. Is this the x component divided by the resultant vector? So I did this math, I substituted the resultant vector, and the x component of the resultant vector is 4.97 meters per second to the east. The y component is the sine of angle 30, so that's the opposite. So the y component of the resultant vector divided by the resultant vector is equal to the sine of 30 degrees. So if you solve for this value all by itself, you end up with a velocity in the y component that is 2.87 meters per second north. So those are your two components right there. To determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant, we've actually already done so much of this work, but the magnitude is 5.74 meters per second, and the direction is 30 degrees north of this east line. So the questions that follow ask, how long does it take to cross the river? Now, how long does it take is a question of time. So that's the thing that we do not know. We don't know the time. This was given at the top. It tells you that the displacement, or the from bank to bank, is 212 meters. And you know that your velocity in the x direction is 4.97 meters per second. So we're using the x component of the resultant vector to determine the time that it would take to travel a certain distance in the x dimension. So velocity is displacement divided by time, which if you rearranged this equation would give you time is equal to the displacement divided by the velocity. And so I substituted 212 in for the displacement and 4.97 for the velocity, which gives us a time of 42.7 seconds. So that's the time for which this jet ski is traveling. And since it's traveling with both an x and a y component, and we know the y velocity is 2.87 meters per second, now we're going to substitute the question of how much upstream. That's a question of displacement. So this is the part that is unknown. This is your unknown, is the displacement in the y direction. How far upstream is he? And so from here, you know that the displacement in the y direction is equal to the velocity times the time. It's just a rearranging of these equations. So the velocity in the y, I'll put a little subscript here. The velocity in the y direction is 2.87 meters per second north, and the time is 42.7 seconds, which means that the final displacement in the y direction is 123 meters to the north. And that's it. If you have questions about how to solve problems like this, definitely feel free to come see me or your physics teacher. But good luck as you prepare for any tests or quizzes.